Hello peanut peeps, how you doing? All's good here. Today's topic on how I make wildlife videos is how I choose an AF area mode and how I autofocus. Currently, I'm using 3 of the AF area modes. Okay, for birds in flight or anything with action, my go-to is the wide area AFL. This looks like a rectangle. For birds which are not moving much and is an area more cluttered, I'll use the wide area AFS. For birds that are not moving and is in a real tight cluttered area, I'll use an area mode where I create a custom single box. I use this because this mode allows for tracking. On the first episode, I discussed AFF and how it relates to AF area modes. Now I want to discuss AF area modes and focusing, but I'll mention AFF here. If you did not see the first episode and want to see how AFF relates to focusing, you can check out episode 1. Okay, for birds in flight and action, I use wide area AFL. When you first see a bird in the focus area rectangle, it's probably blurry initially because you just saw it in the viewfinder, which is happening very quickly. My focus mode is set to AFF, full-time AF. So this mode is trying to focus automatically, but it's too slow. So for autofocus with flying subjects, I want to do it out in the field so I can explain what I do. Step one is, the first thing is I want to anticipate, or if I see the subject and I'm waiting for him to fly, I'm going to pre-focus to the area he is in. Or if I don't see anything, I'm going to focus to where I anticipate my subject or bird will be. This makes it much faster to focus. So step two is when I see the bird or I see the bird take off. And what I want to do is first put my eye up to the viewfinder, try to get the bird in the rectangle of the wide L, at which point I'm going to press and release quickly the AF on button. And once I see that it's clear, to me, that's the indicator that when I release the AF on button, that the autofocus, the little white box, will attach to the subject, at which point I'm not going to press this anymore once I see that box, and I'm just going to pan and try to keep the subject in that rectangle. So in step 2 is where I find the subject and I get him in the rectangle and I'm trying to focus. But here, there's 2 different things going on. One is, like I said before, if I'm pre-focused to the area, usually I'm going to get focused pretty quickly there. But if I'm not pre-focused, say I'm pre-focused here and the subject goes here, there are times when I get right on the subject and it's in the rectangle and I'm pressing the AF on button, but it doesn't focus at all. So at that point, I know that may occur. I will pre-focus to the area very quickly, super quickly. If I see he's closer, I will maybe shoot at something that's near to the subject. Sometimes it's the ground. I'll see him, get him in square, pre-focus to the ground, and then go right back. And then usually I will get focus. This process of pressing and releasing of the AF on button may take a little experience to get used to. Sometimes, because things are moving so quickly, you may need to press and release the AF on button a few times to get the initial focus. And sometimes you'll see the attached focus box will disappear when you're panning. If I see that the subject is still clear, I will keep following the subject without touching the AF on button. And many times the focus box will attach to the subject again. But sometimes it'll get out of focus. And then I start the whole process over again. When I'm tracking, what I try to do is keep the subject within the AF area rectangle and try to keep as steady as possible without touching any buttons. Okay, I want to keep it in the rectangle for 2 reasons. 1 is so it continues tracking. And 2, if the bird is in the rectangle, this helps it look smoother on video. If the bird is moving back and forth in your viewfinder, this will show up in your video. Also, you want to try to minimize movements and keep as smooth as you can. This all translates to the video. The smoother you are, the smoother your video will appear. You can help minimize shakiness in the video by applying slow motion and stabilization in software and having lens or camera stabilization on. But for me, these methods only can do so much. The bottom line, the more stable you are, the better the footage will look. Shooting birds in tight areas, I use the same procedure like birds in flight, but I'll use the wide S because this is a little more precise. Once I locate the subject, I'll do the same A of on, press and release process just like birds in flight. Now for birds in really tight areas where there's branches blocking and it's hard to focus in there, I'll create a wide area custom box. Here I'll create a single box because it's precise and it allows for tracking. And then I'll use the same A of on, press and release process that I do for birds in flight. First, let's get into video mode. Let's move the photo video selector to the right. Now press the menu button. Go to the video recording menu, then AF area mode, and you can select it here. Another way is to press the I button on the rear of the camera. You can change it right here. There's actually another way. You can do it by pressing and holding down the focus mode button. Then rotate the sub-command dial or front dial to cycle through the available AF area modes. This is the way I prefer to do it. If you want to create a custom AF area, press and hold down the focus mode button. Then rotate your front dial and make sure you are on WC1. Then press the multi-selector to size your AF area. Another way to create your own AF area is to press the menu button. Then, in the video recording menu, select AF area mode, choose either C1 or C2, and you can size using the multi-selector. If you don't want to see all of the AF area modes when you cycle through, you can restrict them. Press the menu button, then go to the custom settings menu, and then video, and then limit AF area mode selection. Now select the ones that you want to see. So this is how I autofocus. There are different methods, but this is what I'm comfortable with. And that's it for today. So next time I want to cover shutter speed, shooting in manual, and auto ISO. I'll see you next time on Peanut Tree Adventures.